Hello people! Welcome to another English class for Second Advanced Year 2020 in Inmaculada Concepción. Today, we're going to continue working with Unit 2, Adverbs of Frequency and Question Words. We will use adverbs of frequency and question words correctly. Remember that these type of classes are in English and Spanish. Let's start. First, we're going to read a dialogue between Maisie and Ben. En este momento les voy a sugerir que hagan una pausa en el video para poder leer correctamente el diálogo. We're going to continue now. Vamos a circular las palabras que vamos a utilizar en un ratito. Often, sometimes, usually, always. These are the adverbs of frequency. Estos son los adverbios de frecuencia. Then we're going to use which, who, how often, why, and when. These are the question words. Estas son las palabras para realizar preguntas. Let's continue. Now, we're going to see the adverbs of frequency and we're going to see some examples from the dialogue. We're going to use the 4 adverbs of frequency from the dialogue in exercise 1 and we're going to add them to the table. You can see that the first adverb of frequency is never. The second one is hardly ever. Then we're going to complete with sometimes, often, usually, and always. In Spanish, we know that these are adverbios de frecuencia y ellos nos indican la cantidad o la frecuencia con la que hacemos las acciones en nuestra vida diaria. For example, never corresponds to nunca. Hardly ever may be casi nunca. Sometimes, algunas veces. Often, frecuentemente. Usually, usualmente o generalmente. Always, siempre. Let's continue. Let's see the grammar structure then. Adverbs of frequency. We use adverbs of frequency to say how often something happens. We usually put adverbs of frequency before the verb. Generalmente ponemos los adverbios de frecuencia antes del verbo. Example: I never have breakfast. El verbo sería have. Never va antes del verbo. Be. We put adverbs of frequency after the verb be. Ponemos los adverbios de frecuencia después del verbo be. Example: You are always late. El verbo en este ejemplo sería are. El adverbio de frecuencia va después del verbo be. You are always late. Let's continue. Now, we're going to remember. The normal position of an adverb of frequency is immediately after the verb be. Dijimos que va inmediatamente después del verbo be. She is never late for school. She isn't always happy to see me. And immediately before most other verbs. Ejemplos: We often play football on Saturdays. She never listens to me. Now, let us practice. We're going to put the adverbs of frequency in brackets in the correct place in the sentences. Para hacer esta actividad, vamos a prestar atención al verbo que hay en cada oración. 1. Kate watches TV in her bedroom. El verbo es watches. Entonces, el adverbio de frecuencia tiene que ir antes. 1. Kate sometimes watches TV in her bedroom. 2. Joe is late for school. El verbo sería is. Como es el verbo be, tenemos que usar el adverb of frequency después. So, Joe is often late for school. 3. Harry goes dancing. El verbo es goes. Entonces sería Harry never goes dancing. 4. Hannah does sports at the weekend. El verbo es does. Entonces sería Hannah hardly ever does sports at the weekend. 5. William listens to music in bed. The verb is listens. So, William usually listens to music in bed. 6. Ryan is thirsty after school training. The verb is. Como sabemos que es el verbo be, el adverb of frequency va a ir después. So, Ryan is always thirsty after football training. Let's continue. Question words. Let's see some examples from the dialogue. Vamos a usar algunas de las palabras del diálogo al principio de esta presentación. We use question words to ask for information. We put them at the beginning of questions. Usamos las palabras para hacer preguntas para conseguir información. Obviamente, las colocamos al principio de las preguntas. Por ejemplo, how many, what time, where, whose, which, who, how often, when, and why. Vamos a ver los ejemplos. What time do you get up? Where do you live? Whose book is this? Now, let's practice. We're going to read the answers and circle the correct question words to complete the sentences. Vamos a prestar atención a las respuestas y así poder elegir la question word correcta. 1. La respuesta es by bus. How or when do you get to school? The answer is how do you get to school? 2. La respuesta es in the kitchen. Who or where are you? The correct question word is where are you? 3. La respuesta es after dinner. How often or when do you do your homework? The correct question word is when. 4. La respuesta es 10. Which or how many subjects do you do at school? The correct question word is how many. 5. The answer is on Friday evenings. When or when do you usually meet your friends? The correct question word is when. 6. The answer is my brother's. Whose or whose pencil case is this? The correct question word is whose. Alright people, we've finished. I hope you find this video very useful. Remember to keep calm and stay at home. See you soon, your teacher, Silvia.